Welcome to Life Expressions, the podcast where we uncover stories, strategies, and lessons that inspire professionals and leaders to excel in their careers and personal lives. I'm your host, Charie Ilon. Today, we're going to be joined by Sal Hatteea, a trailblazer in the world of international marketing and sales, a dynamic leader who has excelled as a CEO, consultant, and speaker. But that's not all. Our guest, Sal, is also one of the authors of Confessions of Two Dinosaurs, Timeless Lessons in International Marketing and Sales, a book that offers invaluable insights drawn from a wealth of experience in the global business arena. We'll explore the pivotal moments that shaped his career, uncover timeless lessons in building a personal brand, and discuss strategies for thriving in a competitive, ever evolving professional landscape. This episode is packed with wisdom for professionals at every stage of their journey. So, whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting out in your career, you're in for a treat. Get comfortable. Let's dive into a conversation that's sure to inspire and empower you. Welcome to Life Expression, Sal.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Your journey as a CEO, consultant, speaker, and author of Confessions of Two Dinosaurs is just so inspiring. Can you share a bit about what sparked your career path and the pivotal moments that shaped it?
Well, right at the beginning, I knew where I wanted to go. In my 20s, I knew I wanted to be an officer of a company before I was 40. I didn't know how to get there. It didn't matter. I knew what. That's the main thing. And as you go through life, the how becomes clearer if you know the what. Because, there's a saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And believe me, that's an actual true saying. It does work. That right through my journey, in every company I worked for, I had mentors who helped me on my way to get to where I
Yeah.
wanted to be. But I knew where I wanted to be. A lot of people don't know where they want to be, and that's part of the problem. You never go to a train station and ask the ticket master to give you a ticket to where he thinks you should go. But in your career, sometimes you do that. You join a company not knowing where you want to go. You stagnate, you're unhappy. But I knew exactly where I wanted to go. And so I could focus on doing exactly that to get me to, I work backwards in time, not forwards in time. What I mean by that is, you know your end goal, then you can look and see what you need to do to get to your end goal. And the first
Yeah.
thing is, if you want to be a CEO, you've got to mix with people who are CEOs or at that level. If you don't mix with them, you don't know how they think. How are you going to get there? Now, another truth is that you are the average of the 4 or 5 people you spend most of your time with. So if all you do is spend your time with your peers, you become the average of them. You have to have in that group people who are more senior. That lifts up your average. It gets
Yeah.
you there quicker.
Yeah.
So that was the key thing, first of all, knowing where you want to be.
But for yourself, how and when did you know where you want to be?
In my 20s, I knew I wanted to be, well, I wasn't thinking CEO. I was thinking of being an officer, a director of a company before I was 40. As I
Yes.
went on the path, I realized I wanted to be a CEO because my intention always was to set up my own company.
Yes.
Now, you don't set your own company up when you haven't run a company because you don't know what to do. You make mistakes. It's
Yes.
best to learn the ropes and I've only worked for large companies. It's best to learn the ropes in large companies. And then when you set it up, when you're ready to go, hit the ground running. You know what to do. You know what to expect.
Yeah. And what actually motivated you to take that leap? When did you say, okay, I'm ready to start my own company?
I was 42 years old. I'd been running a company for 10 years. And I thought then, I'm stagnating now. I've done 10 years of work. I was just itching to do it myself. And I
Yes.
thought if I stay here any longer, all I'm going to do is just repeat what I've been doing. And the danger really is not so much in not knowing where you want to be, but in not doing the things to get there. So really, to me, the time was right. I had a runway of 2 years. You need
Yeah.
to have a runway because when you first start, of course, it's tough. But I had mentors with me, even at that time. And when I spoke to one of them, and he was the ex-managing director of BMW, somebody who I worked for, and he said to me, take the leap, throw your credit cards away, just draw a sum of money every week and live on that. And if you run out, don't go out, stay at home. but don't get into debt. So I
Yeah.
thought, well, I'm not going to throw my credit cards away, because if I stay in a hotel, you've got to give a credit card to even book it. But I took his advice. I just drew money every week. And if I spent it all, that was it. I stay home. And if I had some, I could do whatever I wanted with it. But people like that helped me get my mind straight as to how to go about it.
Yeah. That's great. And so for you have your own consultancy firm,
Yes.
and how is it going?
Well, I only help now smaller companies, because they're the ones that really need help. I don't really want to work for larger companies. There's too much effort involved. I'm at an age now where I'm retired, but I'm not retired. The problem about retirement is you don't have the time to retire. So yeah, I'm helping small companies, startups and small ones as well, because they are the ones that really need the help. And I was helped along the route all the way. So I'm
Yes.
giving back what was given to me. I
Yeah.
think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, you appreciate the fact that you mentioned that you've got to start with the end in mind. Like that's one concept that I've learned from Stephen Covey as well, that begin with the end in mind. And that's what happened to you. And you are in the company of mentors. You learn from them. And now you're giving back to the community.
Absolutely. It was given to me, so why shouldn't I give back? Without their help, I wouldn't have made it that far that quickly. I might have made it anyway. It might have taken me longer, but
Yeah.
because they helped me, I want to help others. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of satisfaction in helping others too.
Yes, for sure. Let's talk about personal branding and career growth. In your experience, what are the key elements of a strong personal brand, and how can professionals begin building one?
Well, you need to know what you're good at, first of all. If you don't know what you're good at, it's very difficult. But once you do that, you have to build a story around it. Because in any brand, it doesn't matter what it is, there's a story around the brand. And this is exactly what professionals should do. They should know, what is the unique selling proposition, first of all.
Yeah.
Write it down, believe it. Where do they want to go? What have they done to get there? And what do they intend to do? Now you build a brand so you can tell people what you are about. If you can't express what you're about, you've got a problem. But you have to have a story, a good story behind what you've done and where you're going.
Yeah.
And then people can buy into that. In the
Yes.
same way as any company does with any product.
It is important to have a unique selling proposition, even for ourselves, as you're saying, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, if you don't have that, then you're the same as anybody else. Why would anyone consider you to be any different to somebody else if you don't have a USP?
Yes.
You've got to put yourself apart from others. You've got to show that you are different.
Yeah.
Like any brand does anyway. They all have a USP of some sort. If they don't, then they're a Me Too brand. They do it, Me Too. And
Yes.
that's not the way to succeed.
Yeah, and then the battle goes to like the pricing already, and that's not the way we want to go.
Well, you see, that's now we're coming into marketing philosophy now, because there's the red ocean and the blue ocean. Red oceans are where all the companies are. They're competing against each other for the same market space. All
Yeah.
that does is reduce prices, reduce profits, and you're trying to kill each other. A blue ocean is where you're taking uncontested market space, where you're developing something nobody else has. So you've got it all to yourself. Now
Yeah.
you've got to try and find blue oceans in life and in your career too. If you just keep on fighting in the red oceans, competing with others like you, it's a tough race.
Yeah. And so navigating career growth comes with unique challenges. What advice would you like to give to professionals seeking to strategically position themselves, especially for leadership roles and advancement?
Okay, the only way to do that is by actually mixing with leaders, talking to them, being part of their network. Networking is so important. It's the one thing that I wasn't told when I first started my career, but I learned it, that
Yeah.
networking is key.
Yes.
If you want to be like people, then you've got to mix with those people. If you want to be a millionaire, talk to millionaires. There's no point talking to people who haven't made a million. They'll give you advice, but it's not worth anything because they haven't done it. So you have to mix with people who have done what you want to do. And within your own company, there are plenty of opportunities for doing that. Wherever you're working, it doesn't matter. How did I do it? Well, mine is a different role because I just did it by working harder, faster, more accurate, and getting noticed. I did twice as much work as anybody else. And when you do that, you get noticed.
Yeah.
And not just by your boss, but even above that. Because I never actually wanted my boss's job. I wanted to go way above that. When I first began, it wasn't my boss's job I wanted, not even his boss's job. I wanted his boss's job. So I began talking to that person. He was the head of management information services. My first job was at Quaker Oats, and I began talking to him, and he began. Once he knew what I was doing, I didn't go to him on day one, of course not. But once I started working twice as fast and hard as others, the word got to him, and then I started talking to him and saying I'd like his help to progress my career. He was more than happy to help me. He gave me tasks to do. He put me on courses that others hadn't. Four of us began at the same time. After 6 months, when we started, I got a 20% raise. Now that caused a real problem between me and the other three, because we were all freshmen, if you like, in the company. But I got
Yeah.
the raise and they didn't because of what I did. And by mixing with him, talking to him, helping him achieve his goals, I can only achieve my goals if I help him achieve his goals. How
Yes.
else can he do it? So I worked with him as to see, okay, what are you trying to do? Let's together, I'll help you achieve that. And I did. And we put some really innovative solutions in the company because I worked that hard. He sent me on courses to do that. I learned, I did, and I won.
Yeah.
Then after 3 years, I left. And now he didn't want me to leave. He said he tried to dissuade me from leaving. He said, "Look, if you want more money, I'll pay you more money." I said, "No, it's not about money. It's about I need different experiences. This
Yes.
is an FMCG company. I've got 3 years over here. I've done a lot. Now I want to went to the automotive company, BMW. Said I want a different experience. So I left.
And what
And I was,
happened at BMW? I'm sorry, you were saying?
yeah, no, then I was there for 6 years. And then I left there to go to
Yeah.
the next phase of my life, which was in consulting, a consulting company. And
Yeah.
then to have my own.
Yeah.
That's how I moved forward. But that was all planned. I didn't plan which companies, but I planned my route.
Sal, you've also worked with international companies providing strategic marketing guidance. How about individuals? How can individuals apply marketing principles like you've mentioned earlier, storytelling and value proposition to advance their careers?
Well, first of all, you've got to help the company achieve its goals. If you don't do that, then you have nowhere to go. So you need to know where the company is heading and what you can do to help them. Now, sometimes, and I was in an era where, you know, IT was very young. In 1970s, when I began my career at Quaker Oats. At
Yeah.
that time, there were only big mainframe computers. There were no mini computers or certainly no PCs. So senior management didn't have a clue what IT could do. I wanted to go through the IT route on purpose because I knew that to get to marketing, I needed to know how technology can be used. Otherwise, I'm going to be a marketing guy beholden to other people, and I don't know nothing about it. So I began in technology to move to marketing. Having done that and when you talk to senior people, you know what they're trying to do. I'll give another example in Quaker Oats. The marketing director there, he used to have it done manually. I mean, remember there were no personal calculators in those
Yeah.
days either. In 1970 it didn't exist. But he used to have his accounts department draw plans. He would put the annual plan for sales, and they're going to break
Yes.
it down into the components of each product. And I went to him one evening and I said, "Look, this is what you're doing. How about if I do an interactive model for you? You give me a plan, and give me the formula for each product, and I'll tell you instantly what you need, how many tons of sugar of whatever you need. And you change the plan, it'll change it right away." So he said, "Can you do that?" I said, "Sure, I can do that." So he said, "I'd like it done." I did it. And that changed the whole process of planning, because
Yeah.
doing it manually takes hours to do in
True.
those days.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
again, I was helping the company achieve its goals,
Yes.
and that's what you have to do.
Yeah. And you were innovating.
Well, Peter Drucker, long, long before me, he
Yeah.
said a company has only two main purposes: marketing and innovation. Everything
Yes.
else is a cost. Marketing and innovation brings results.
Yeah.
So you have to keep on innovating. You have to all the way through.
Yeah.
Even to this day, I'm still learning. You have to keep learning. You can't apply yesterday's logic to today's problems. It
True.
doesn't work. It doesn't
Yeah.
work. The marketplace is changing, and you need to change with the times, and
Yeah.
then innovate on where you are today.
But I would like to go to your book, Confessions of Two Dinosaurs: Timeless Lessons in Marketing. You've said you cannot use yesterday's logic to today's problems, but how relevant are the marketing principles of yesterday or of the past to today?
The principles are pretty much the same. The principles,
Yes.
the method, how you approach them is the difference. Because marketing principles haven't changed a hell of a lot,
Yeah.
but the application of them has changed a lot. Because technology is now and enables you to do things you couldn't do before.
True.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at Apple. What is that if not a marketing and innovation company? That's what they are, and they're the largest company. You know, they marketing innovation. Look at any Google. Look at Amazon. Again, marketing is pure marketing. Amazon is just a marketing innovation too, but it's
Yes.
those two. And the companies to succeed are those that are in marketing and innovation, and you have to do that. And I never stopped innovating right through my career and after also.
Yeah, that's great. What advice do you want to give to professionals who feel stuck or unsure about their next career step? Because you're always innovating, you have smoothly transitioned from CEO to consultant.
Well, they need to know, first of all, where they're heading. If they're stagnating, it's because they don't know where they're going. You need to know where you're going. And then you've got to ask for more responsibility. You know, I was always taught that if you can do your job as well as it can be done, ask for more responsibility. If you don't get it, then it's time to leave. Because the one thing you don't want is to have 1 year's experience repeated 5 times and then say, I've got 5 years experience. You don't want that. You want 5 actual years of growth
Yeah,
rather than the person got 1 year. I've had people come to me, they got 10 years experience. When I go into it, I suddenly find it's 1 year repeated 10 times. That's no good to me. I want people who've actually grown,
yes,
innovated, found new ways of doing things rather than just repeat what they've been doing. And there
yeah,
are too many of those around. So the
correct.
first thing you do is don't just repeat what you're doing all the time, because if you do, you're going to stagnate. If you're always experimenting, you do not stagnate because you're experimenting. You're trying to find things. Oh, sure, you're going to fail at some things. But you know, Apple have failed at a lot of things too. But look at their successes. Failure is not a problem, you know, because you're learning. It's not a failure, you're learning. Every
Yeah.
time you do something, you've learned how not to do that, and it becomes easier to know how to do it the next time.
It's important to not be scared to fail, because if you do not try at all, then that is the problem. That is failure in itself.
That is failure. That exactly. Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to fail because there's no such thing as failure. You've learned. You've learned. I mean, you know, Elon Musk said that when he had his first rocket and it crashed, and they said that was a failure. He said, no, no, that was a success because now I have the data, so we can perfect it the next time around. So he collected data. That to him it wasn't a failure.
Yeah.
And the same thing I'm saying. There is no such thing as failure. You're always learning. You've learned now how not to do something, and it'll bring you closer to how to do it. Even when you succeed, because I came through the sales marketing route, and when you're in selling, whenever I used to go and on a sales call, whether I got the sale or I didn't get the sale, I'd analyze what I did. Even if I got it, I'd analyze it to say how could I have done it better.
Yeah.
So the next time I'm slicker at getting the point across.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a question of, you know, I've got it, so I'm happy. No, I was never happy. There's always better ways. And I kept finding new ways to sell.
Yeah.
And that's why I succeeded too.
That's great. Keep on innovating, keep on improving. Do not be afraid to take that next leap towards bigger things. That's what I'm hearing from you. You've also
Absolutely.
yeah, you've also mentioned about networking. What do you think are the actual steps to really grow your network and connect with mentors or advocates?
Okay, well, let's take it first of all internally and then externally. Internally, you want to connect with people who you want to be like. So once you've established who the people are that you want to be like, talk to them. It's surprising how many people will actually help you if you just ask for it. Most people don't, but if you ask, you get the help. I mean, I used to walk into the marketing director's office in Quaker Oats and talk to him. And then we would talk about what he's trying to do. And, suddenly he ends up being my mentor as well, because I said to him, look, I want to go into marketing. Right now I'm in IT, but I want to go into marketing. And he helped me by talking to me because I was helping him too.
Yeah.
You've got to add value. If you don't add value to people, why would they talk to you? You have to add value to them. And I was adding value all the time.
Yeah. Externally,
Externally, you need to join. Well, most industries have institutes. Be part of it. Attend institute meetings. So if you're in FMCG, the fast moving consumer goods, go to those meetings where you
yeah.
meet people and connect with them. Use LinkedIn to connect with people like you. It's a good platform for connecting with people, and that's how you do it by
Yeah.
going to other people who are actually in the industry you're in, by being part of the institute. I mean, how did I meet my co-author? Thomas Anderson. We met on a thing called Lunch Club. It's an online platform. I've never met him in
Mhm.
real life. We've written a book together, and I haven't met him.
Oh, wow.
we don't
That's
you don't need
interesting.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we began talking, and after several months of talking, we decided, why don't we write a book together? Because our experiences are complementary, and so we did. We started. Took us several months to write the book because we had several iterations of it, but we did it. But here you are. I met a guy through online platform, through Lunch Club. That's how you meet, using social media. And there are many forums like that. But even Lunch Club
Yes.
itself, you put on there what your strengths are, what you're looking for in people, and they
Yeah.
connect you to people like the ones you want to meet. And that's how I met
True.
him.
That's great. And I look
And
forward to meeting Thomas Anderson as well.
well, I think you'll find he's a nice guy, actually.
And so, Sal, how can professionals balance the demands of building a career while staying true to their personal values and responsibilities? I would say there should be congruence, right? Like in building your career and, of course, pushing forward and living by your personal values and responsibilities too.
Oh yeah, no, that's a tough one. I mean, it really is a tough one. That sometimes in the short term you have to focus on the career if that's what you want to get to, because you can still get there if you mix the two. I didn't. I actually focused on the career first. I thought, right, I'm going to get there, and once I get there, I can help my family far more, and I can help
Yeah.
other people far more. Now I got two choices: get there quickly or get there slowly. And I thought, no, I'm going to get there faster. I just want to get to that position where I'm in control, where I have enough money to not just survive, but to lead the life that I want. I work for a lifestyle. People should work. I don't work for a salary, work for a lifestyle. Now, to get a lifestyle, you need a certain salary. But it wasn't salary I was after, it's a lifestyle I was after. And again, uh, people have to make that decision. Now, if they want to work a 9 to 5 job, to me, working 9 to 5, you keep up with the competition. Working 5 to 9, that's when you go ahead. And I put those hours in because I wanted to go ahead, and I did go ahead. It works.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
but if you just work the 9 to 5, and you want to have your family life the way you want it, it's tougher. For a short term, I'd say do it. Once you get there, you have the time, because then you're in control. Then you're advising. When you get to be a CEO, you're not doing the work. You have others doing it. All you're doing is helping them do their
Yeah.
work better.
Looking back at your journey, what's one piece of advice you wish someone had given you earlier in your career?
I guess the first thing, there are two things. One is to build a network of people, to network. Because when I first started, I was like anybody else. You mix with your peers and you talk to them, and then you become the average of them. And then I realized I'm not getting anywhere here. I need to go a little bit further. So networking is the most important thing. Second is finding a mentor. That is almost essential, because how else can you learn? Take a sportsman. Would Djokovic get to be number one in tennis if he didn't have a coach? He wouldn't have, I don't think. He needed a coach. Now, all sportsmen have coaches. So why do business people think they don't need coaches? They need coaches too. Those are mentors. They're their coaches. And if you don't have a coach, how can you perfect what you're doing?
Yeah.
So finding a mentor and networking are the two most important things in life. Mentor is very important because that's a coach. And if you don't
Yes.
have that, you can't succeed easily. You really cannot.
Yeah.
Even when you're CEO, I had the professor of marketing in one of the largest business schools in the UK come to me once or twice a month just to critique what I was doing. And I learned a lot from him because he was telling me these are the trends, marketing trends in industry. Which I hadn't thought about, because when you're running a company, you're just involved in what you are doing. And
Yes.
he taught me a lot of things. Like, he said, don't build a product and try and sell it. Find out what the person's trying to do and get the job done. Rather than say, we know it all. We're going to produce this and we're going to ram it down their throats. That doesn't work any longer.
Yeah, that's great. And I would like to believe that you're a mentor to many. I'd like to give a shout out to one who has introduced me to you, Farhan. He
Yeah.
considers you his mentor. And I could attest how positive, how the spark of Farhan spreads towards other people that he meets, even online, like me.
I'm a mentor. Usually it's people I know. I mean, I met Farhan when I was selling my company. He worked in a bank, and they were one of the people that wanted to buy my company. But I had a better deal from a company in the U.S. to buy, so I sold to them. But Farhan kept in touch with me because he liked what I was saying, how I was saying it, and he wanted me to help him. And I've been helping him ever since. And we chat all the time. But it's not just him, I do it with many other people too. Because
That's
they just,
great.
look, I'll give you another example. I was in hospital recently. I had a problem with my gallbladder, and the doctors there are keeping in touch with me to this day, even though I was a patient. But when they
Yeah.
talked to me, they liked what I was saying, how I was saying it, and they're friends now.
Yeah, that's great. And that's the impact you have towards people that you meet.
Well, yeah, you need to give them something though of value to them,
Yeah.
really, and that something is knowledge.
Yeah.
That's what I have. I've got a lot of knowledge in marketing and sales. And now
Absolutely.
these are doctors. They don't need sales or marketing knowledge, but the principles are the same no matter what you're doing. To progress in your life, you have to market yourself. We're all marketers. If you don't market yourself, how are you going to progress? You can't just sit there, do your job, and hope to hell that your boss is going to give you a raise and give you a promotion. It might never happen because he might try and block you. Now, if you're a good marketer, you go beyond him. You think, okay, he's my boss. I don't want his job. I'm no threat to him. I want to go way beyond that. And you mix with the people who can help you. But to do that, you've got to help them too.
Yeah. It's a
Achieve their goal.
win-win. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to go to the managing director of BMW and tell him what I can do for him. And again, like I said, in those days, people didn't know what IT can do. I'll give you one instance. It's in my book as well. But I said to him, I can do something which had never been done before in the motor industry. And he said, how long will it take? I said, 3 months. 2 days later, he called me. He says, your boss says it'll take 9 months. I said, he's right. It'll take him 9 months. It'll take me three.
He's not Sal. Yeah, that's wonderful.
So he said, I want you to do it. I said, then keep him off my back and I'll do it. Then my boss, of course, he said to me one day, let's go for a drink. He said, you and I have a problem. I said, why? He said, well, you told the MD that it'll take 3 months. You know it's going to take 9 months. I said, if I knew it's going to take 9 months, by saying 3 months, I'm making a fool of myself. I know I can do it in 3 months. That's why I said 3 months.
Yeah, that's
And,
great.
and actually, I did it. And once I did it, I got promoted. So I no longer work for that boss any longer. I went past that.
Yeah, yeah. You just got to do the extra mile. And I think you also have that self belief that you can do it and you got to actually do it.
Everybody can do whatever they want. They really can. They just have to believe it.
Yes,
It's their limiting thoughts that stop them, nothing else,
true. Yeah,
really.
yeah,
You know, the danger people have is not setting goals so high that they don't achieve them, but setting them so low that they do.
that is true. Yeah, I agree with that. A long quote that we adhere to. Finally, Sal, what's the one mindset shift or habit that you believe everyone should have so that they could thrive both personally and professionally?
On professionally, you got to innovate all the time. Don't sit back on your laurels because you can do something well. Doesn't mean you're going to keep on doing it and it's going to work in the future. You have to keep innovating. Find new ways. Find the blue oceans, and that's the only way to do it. Find the blue oceans and then swim in those oceans where you don't have any competition. And that's what I've been doing throughout my life. I mean, you gotta fight in the red ocean as well. You can't get away from it. But you know, again, example that I was taught. Now, Theodore Levitt, who's a professor of marketing, when he's passed now in Harvard Business School, he said nobody wants to buy an electric drill. What they want is a quarter-inch hole. But to get a quarter-inch hole, you're going to buy a drill. The problem with drill makers, they're competing amongst themselves. What they're saying is, that guy's got variable action. I better have one. He's got hammer action. I better have that. They're forgetting the customer wants a quarter-inch hole. He doesn't want hammer action or variable speed, but they're competing amongst themselves. So what I learned there was get the job done the customer wants done. Forget what your competition is doing. Just get the job done and take out the features the customer doesn't want and put in features they do want. Now, there's
Yes.
another example. There's a chain of hotels, and I think it's I forget the actual name. Citizen M for Mobile Citizen. What they've done, they've got 5-star quality at 3-star prices. They've taken away the things that people don't want. There's no reception desk. They have terminals. There's no, and they are all town center, city center hotels. The rooms are the most comfortable beds you can find. The showers are power showers. They're not large, the rooms, because people just want to spend overnight in hotels like that. So they've stripped out what people don't want to pay for, and they've put in what they really want. Very comfortable beds, power showers, internet access for free. And if you want room service, you have to go down, and they have people wandering around. You grab one of them and ask them for something, and they'll bring it to you. But there's no restaurant, so they don't want to pay for restaurants. They're in town centers. There are restaurants all around. So you can go out to a restaurant if you want to. So now you're getting 5-star luxury for 3-star prices, and
Yeah.
they've grown fast because that's
Yeah.
what people want. They're giving people what they want.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes you think beyond and that people don't know it yet that that's what they want and you're giving them that
That's
when you
that's you see
innovate.
that's exactly what Steve Jobs said when he was asked, how much market research do you do? He said none, because people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
And nobody said to him we want an iPod. They didn't think that way. He
Yeah.
produced it. Then people bought it. Nobody said they wanted a smartphone. He produced the iPhone, and then people bought it. So he's right. People don't know what they want. They know the job they want done. They don't know how.
Yeah.
But forget the how. If you know the job they want done, then a good marketer can say, right, I know how to do that now. And he was one of the best.
How about for personal lives? What is the main habit or mindset shift that we should take for ourselves?
This is the key about marketing, that it's like firing a rocket to the moon. If you no matter what computer technology you use, if you fire the rocket and leave it, it's going to miss the moon by thousands of miles. You have to keep correcting the course. And this is when I say you have to keep on inventing yourself, because the marketplace is changing. You can't just stay there and use yesterday's logic for today's problems. It's not going to work. You have to keep correcting course. And if you
Yes.
do, not only are you learning, you're helping your company as well, and you're helping the customer more than anything else, because it's customers who keep you in business. If you don't have customers, it doesn't matter what product you have, you're going to die.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting customers.
That's great. And thank you so much, Sal. And that's a wrap for today's episode of Life Expressions. You can grab a copy of the book of Sal Hatteea, The Confessions of
And
Two
you know,
Dinosaurs, on Amazon. Is that available on Amazon?
well, I tell you what, it's available on Kindle and Amazon. I would not
Awesome.
suggest buying the paperback on Amazon, and I'll tell you why. We don't have a publisher for the US yet. So this has got to be sent from Europe. It costs too much. Don't do that. I'm going to focus on getting a publisher, and then we'll publish it there. But on the Kindle edition, yes, you can get it on Amazon.
I will definitely get a copy on my Kindle. Thank you once again, Sal. And a huge thank you to our, again, incredible guest for sharing his journey, insights, and lessons, and that have truly inspired me. And I hope you, my audience, to think bigger and aim higher. As we close, let's leave you with this powerful thought. Success is not the result of spontaneous combustion. You must set yourself on fire. Remember, your success starts with you, your actions, your choices, and your willingness to ignite your own spark. As Sal here would say, you've got to know where you want to go so you could get there. If you found today's conversation valuable, don't keep it to yourself. Like, follow, and subscribe to Life Expressions wherever you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even on YouTube. And be sure to leave a review. It helps us reach more people like you who are ready to transform their lives. Let's keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts, favorite moments, or even your own story on our social media channels. Tag us and use the hashtag Life Expressions Podcast so we can celebrate your journey too. And finally, please repeat after me if you like. I am a positive impact wherever I am, however I can. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Charie Ilon. Till next time, here on Life Expressions. Thank you once again, Sal.
Pleasure. Bye.